announcing who you are to the world is pretty terrifying, because what if the world doesn't like you? So I did whatever I could to keep my secret. I hurt the most important people, and I want them to know that I'm sorry. I'm done being scared. I'm done living in a world where I don't get to be who I am. So, in case you haven't guessed, I have just finished watching Love, Simon, and what an emotional roller coaster this movie is. I'm very, very late to the party. I saw the trailers for this a little before it came out last year, and I loved the look of it. I loved the concept. I thought it looked like a very, very interesting movie, and I was really trying to go and see it, but just a lot of the times I can't actually get to the cinema because of money and, life in general. So I was a bit upset that I never got to see it, but it has just been released on Sky Movies today. So the first thing I did on my lunch break today at work was started watching it, and I didn't want to put it down and go back to work, but I had to. So as soon as I got home from work, I carried on watching this movie, because it's very rare that a movie really grips me like this, which is why I want to talk about it. The fact that it came out over a year ago is not the issue. The issue is this movie gripped me straight away and had me hooked, gripped. Like I said, it's very hard to explain just the connection that I had to this movie, not the reasons that we'll get into, but it's more the emotion side and the struggles and battles that the main character Simon has to go through. And every person that I believe can understand that on an emotional level, because everyone has their things that they are going through. Some of them are a lot higher up the scale than others. I was going to say more important, but that's not really the right word to use. Everyone has different levels of struggles and secrets and things that they have to go through, which is one of the reasons why I love this movie, because I have my struggles myself. I've spoke about it on a previous video. It's not really the important thing. It's not the issue. I struggle with depression and anxiety, and it's taken me a long time to come to terms with that and get to the stage that I'm at now. Like, I'm in a happy place, and I do still have my down days, but I'm in a very, very good place right now. But like Simon, everyone goes through these emotional turmoils that they have to internally try to come to terms with these. They have to, look at themselves and how people on the outside will perceive them, and it's a scary thought. I actually wrote down a quote from the movie. This is going to be all spoilers, by the way, so if you are watching this and you haven't seen the movie yet, I straight away highly recommend going to see it. I'm going to give it a very rare 10 out of 10 because I absolutely love this movie. So if you want to kind of, for a basic review, it's a great movie. It's very emotional, it's funny, it's sad, it's everything you want from a movie all wrapped into one. And for me, it's a definite 10 out of 10. But for the reasons that I've just spoke about, I'm going to read a quote from this movie that happens quite near the end. If you've seen the trailers, you know the concept. He's emailing someone from his school that hasn't yet come out, and he also has not come out to his friends or family, and he's really trying to deal with that himself and how he wants to do it, and if he wants to do it at all. It's not quite the age that we're at now. We're at a very good time. There is still prejudice, but people are much more comfortable with who they are, which is the message that you get from this movie. Is you are who you are, and you should embrace that. You should champion that and let people know. And if they don't accept you, they are not worth being in your life. It's not. You shouldn't have to hide who you really are, which is the main thing that I took from this movie. Like I've just said, I deal with my own problems, but ever since I was young, I've had these problems, but I didn't know what they were, and wasn't until I was older that I realised what they are, and that if you talk about these things, they become easier to cope with. And it's only now that at this age that I'm at now, I know what it is, and I'm comfortable with that. Again, I still have my troubles, I still have my problems from day to day, but so does everyone. So my problems are not worse than other people's problems. My problems are not more important than other people's problems. Everyone just needs someone to talk to. Everyone just needs that emotional crux, which is what I've got. I've got my partner, and she makes me a better person because she helps me to understand that. So I'm going to read this quote that I've already said I was going to do. This quote really struck a chord with me, and I can completely understand where this person is coming from in Love, Simon. Announcing who you are to the world is pretty terrifying, because what if the world doesn't like you? So I did whatever I could to keep my secret. I hurt the most important people, and I want them to know that I'm sorry. I'm done being scared. I'm done living in a world where I don't get to be who I am. It's very, very powerful stuff. And again, like I've already spoke about, it is great to sort of get them sort of things off your chest and be who you are. Live in a world where you can be who you want to be, which is, again, why I love this movie so much. It is just so emotional, and I'm not scared to admit it had me crying. I was bawling my eyes out towards the end, because just the ups and downs of this movie. It starts out where Simon, the main character, he's got his life, he's happy in his life, but he has this big secret, and it's kind of tearing him up inside, but he's learned to live with it, which, like I said, a lot of people go through. Everyone has their own coping mechanisms and what they go through and how they deal with it themselves internally. The main actor, Nick Robinson, who plays Simon, absolutely amazing. I cannot fault him in any way. His delivery of some of these lines, especially the emails that he has to send, so it's just a voiceover, it's just superb. I cannot say how great he is without making it not sound as good as what it should be. He was absolutely amazing. I'm not going to go through the whole cast. I'm just going to go through some of the main characters, because again, there's nothing I can say that really adds to their performance that really needs to be said. They was all great. They all did what they needed to do. They were all just great. If this, they all, I don't really believe in Oscars and things like that, but they should all have Oscars because it's great. Jennifer Garner, Emily, Simon's mum, absolutely amazing. That when he, again, spoilers, when he comes out to her, it takes him a few days to kind of get around it and have a conversation, but the conversation that she has with him, and she explains to him, I knew you was keeping a secret, I didn't know what it was, but it doesn't matter. You are still who you are. You are still Simon. You are my son. You are the person that I still have fun teasing, and just, it got me. It made me cry because she delivers it so well, and as a parent myself, you can completely understand where she's coming from. That is still your child, and you love them no matter what. It's not even a thing, especially in this day and age. Being gay is not a thing. It's not a problem. So she delivers that with such conviction, and it made me cry. It was absolutely amazing. Josh Duhamel, who plays Jack, Simon's dad, again, he's this kind of, laddish kind of dad. He jokes around with his son about his girlfriends, and how many girlfriends he's got, and has he got any of his girlfriends pregnant. He's very nudge kind of dad. When he finds out, he doesn't know how to react. He does kind of what I do in awkward situations. He makes a joke. From the outside looking in, some people will look at that as wrong, but I understand it, because when you're in an awkward situation, you can't help but try and ease the tension. But again, after a few days, he comes to his son and he says, so how long have you known? And they have a very heartwarming conversation. And again, the speech that he gives him, and how he still loves him and he doesn't even care. It's just, again, it had me crying. Just thinking about it now is making me emotional because it's so touching and so just amazing. I can't fault any of these actors. Talitha Bateman, who plays Nora, his little sister, again, great. When she finds out, she's kind of like, she doesn't quite understand because she's quite young, but at the same time she understands everything. It's very strange, especially with children, and even more so with young girls because they are very mature and they understand so much. But she was amazing. Catherine Langford, Leah, his best friends, for 13 years. She's in love with him and she doesn't understand why he's not reciprocating her feelings, because she would assume that they have been friends for so long, those feelings would be there. But ultimately he turns her down, tries to set her up with another friend, and it all comes full circle. And him and all of his friends, Alexandra Shipp as Abby, and I hope I'm saying this right, Jorge Lenderberg Jr., Nick, the four friends, they're all just amazing together. And because Simon has been speaking to Blue, the young guy that came out on this social networking site, he's been emailing him, and they've been, having conversations about being gay, and they ultimately fall in love with each other. And he doesn't tell his friends. He tells one of them eventually, but he's very scared, and you can see he's almost relieved when he does it, but at the same time he's still very scared. Now I'm going to mention Logan Miller, who plays Martin, because he plays an integral part in the story. He finds out that Simon is gay. He finds Simon's emails and he takes photos of them, and he essentially blackmails Simon into helping him become he blackmails Simon into helping him get in with his friend Abby because he wants to date her, and he realises he doesn't really have a chance unless he, gets Simon to help him. And because of this, Simon goes through a lot of turmoil trying to hide his secret, trying to stop Martin from revealing his secret, and eventually he upsets all of his friends because he plays them all off against each other to try and hide his secret. And again, it's very emotional because you can see the whole time he doesn't want to do it because they're his best friends, but at the same time he needs to keep his secret, not just for him but for Blue, because he doesn't want Blue to get scared off, because he has realised that he is falling in love with him, even though he doesn't know him. But I can understand that because this is the day and age that we're in. You can meet someone online and instantly fall in love with them, so it's not even a thing. But he falls in love with him. But Martin, the scene where he blackmails Simon in the library, he basically says, this isn't blackmail, it's just, we're in a situation where we can help each other out. And the way he kind of delivers that line, I audibly out loud said, what a creep. It's not even an expression or a term that I use ever, but it just came out of my mouth. And that's what I mean about this movie. It just hooked me straight away and it had me feeling everything, and I just could not believe this guy. I was absolutely devastated with his actions. The last person I'm going to mention is Kenan Lonsdale, who plays Bram, who, spoiler alert, turns out to be Blue. Throughout the whole movie, when Simon is emailing Blue and falling in love with him, he's trying to determine who it is at his school that he's talking to. He keeps looking at different guys and thinking, is this the guy? And then imagining himself alongside that person and being in a relationship. And he thinks he's figured it out quite a few times until he basically finds these guys with girls, so he assumes that they are not gay. He does this with Bram at a party. He walks in on Bram with another girl and thinks, oh, I was starting to think it was you. I was certain, and now I've seen you with a girl, I know that it's not you. But at the very end, the end scene of the movie, he decides to go to the fair. He puts out a a blog post and tells everyone, yes, I am gay. This is not how I wanted to declare it, because you all know already, but I am gay and I've fallen in love with Blue. And I want Blue to find me. I want Blue to come to me. You know who I am. I want to know who you are. So he goes to the Ferris wheel at a fair, because the Ferris wheel is a quote from an earlier email where Blue says that his life is like being on a Ferris wheel. 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down. And again, we can all understand that. We all get that, because life is a series of ups and downs. So Simon goes to the Ferris wheel, and he's on this Ferris wheel for a long time, and it almost looks like no one is coming. And then Bram appears, and it is him. He was Blue the whole time. He is the man that Simon fell in love with, and they share a kiss. Everyone cheers, and it was just so intensely beautiful. It was amazing. And again, it was one of them scenes that had me crying, because I was just so happy for them both. And then the movie pretty much ends. You know, the guys all go, and you know, all the friends meet up, the 4 friends, but this time Bram is part of that group, and they're a couple, and it was lovely, and I absolutely adored this movie. That's the reason I wanted to come here and talk about this, even though it's already been out for a long time. I probably won't get many views on this video. I appreciate that already, but I just wanted to talk about this movie because I love it. I want to go and watch this again. I'm thinking about going straight upstairs and watching it again, because it was that good. Yeah, very emotional stuff, and again, we can all understand where these characters are coming from. Not just if you're gay and you want to come out, it's if you are going through any kind of emotional problem and you feel you want to talk to someone but you're too scared. The main thing you need to take from this movie and this video in particular is, don't be scared. I know it's hard, I know it's very worrying, but there is always someone out there that will talk to you and help you. You know, it could be your parents, it could be your partner, it could be your friends, it could be even a complete stranger. You know, I don't mean go up to a weirdo in the street and say, oh, I've got a problem, but if you don't feel comfortable doing it with someone you know, find someone that you don't know. There's hotlines, there is, you know, there's online doctors and therapists and everything. There's always someone out there to talk to. So that's the main thing I want someone to take away from this. If one person takes that away, I'd be happy. You know, if you want to talk to someone, talk to someone. I'm here. If you want to talk to me, find me in the comments and I'll talk to you. Not in the comments, I'll find a private way to talk to you, because everyone needs someone to talk to, and that is everything in this world. Someone that will listen. If you enjoy this video, feel free to give me a like and maybe subscribe to my channel. I do have a podcast where I talk movie news every weekend. It is called Up and At Them. You can find that on the Podbean app as well as Spotify. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.